Meet Cookie, a guy whose day job is literally picking up garbage. Born with zero magic in his veins, he was basically a ghost to the girl he crushed on. The local elites treated him like dirt, mocking him daily. In a society where mana is everything, if you can't cast a spell, you're basically invisible. But right when the apocalypse knocked on the door, Cookie unlocked a completely broken ability. He can simulate training inside his own head for literal years while barely a second ticks by in the real world. Armed with this mental time chamber, he stormed the academy and absolutely schooled the nobles who used to look down on him. It all started when the great mage dropped a bombshell on live TV, announcing that the world was on a strict timer. He broke the news in exactly 5 years. Humanity is going to get wiped off the map. Panic instantly swept through the streets as people realized this wasn't a drill because the mage's unique skill is future sight, and the guy has a perfect track record. But just as the doom and gloom set in, he flipped the script, claiming he saw a sliver of hope. He pointed toward a lineup of mysterious figures declaring the 7 saviors standing there were the only ones who could stop the end times. Gasps echoed through the crowd as the hoods came down. We're talking about the physically strongest tank in existence, standing next to the sharpest tactician alive. The squad even included the youngest S-class prodigy ever recorded in the history books. The Doomsday Prophecy was a nightmare, but suddenly survival felt possible. With this dream team assembled, despair turned into massive hype, shifting the entire global mood instantly. And amidst this cocktail of terror and adrenaline, one random guy's destiny started to shift. Our main character watches the broadcast on a jumbo screen, marking the true start of his legend. Fast forward 5 years to Tokyo on the exact date the world was supposed to end. A reporter is out there hyping up the crowd, asking who they're betting on to save them. Meanwhile, a humble scavenger just keeps working, ignoring the buzz completely. Protagonist, Ikuta Cookie, thinks it's weird. Everyone treats the apocalypse like a block party. It feels way more like a festival than a funeral. Suddenly, a familiar face flashes on the screen. He instantly clocks her as Mickey Marai. The footage shows her throwing hands like a boss, praised as the heavy hitter of the 7 saviors. Triggers a memory back when she was drafted as the right hand to number 7, a top-tier gig. Flashback to a younger Cookie buried in a library, grinding through stacks of books. But 2 girls nearby were roasting him, saying all that reading was pointless for a guy with 0 mana. That's when Mickey stepped in, telling him to tune out the haters and reminding him the library was closing up. She hit him with that dazzling smile, swearing that if he never gave up on his dream, he could actually make it happen. Back in reality, seeing her on the big screen lights a fire under him. He spots a beat-up magic tome in the gutter and grabs it. He figures if he keeps grinding, maybe one day the magic will come. Suddenly, the book begins to glow with energy. But before he can react, 2 jerks show up, calling him monolith trash and laughing at his job. They look at him with pure disgust, sneering that a janitor should stick to garbage, not grimoires. One guy incinerates the book with a spell and beams it can right at Cookie's forehead, leaving him dazed. But then the sky turns pitch black and massive crimson rifts tear open the heavens exactly like the mage predicted. Nightmare fuel spills out, bizarre beasts and colossal skeletons flood the streets, kicking off the apocalypse. In the middle of the panic, a holy light pierces the clouds, signaling the arrival of the 7 saviors. The ultimate defense squad touches down, locked and loaded to face the horde. Their leader glares at the monsters while the civilians scream for them to unleash hell. The crowd was drunk on hope, begging the heroes to save their skins. One hero, looking overly cocky, tells everyone to chill, promising he'll wipe the floor with the enemy in a split second. An older veteran steps up, declaring it's time to flex humanity's true strength. Hero number 2 charges in, rocketing toward the beasts at Mach speed. He unleashes a massive energy nuke, and the spectators lose their minds. After that god-tier attack, everyone assumes the fight is over. But as the smoke dissipates, the monster is standing there without a scratch. The mood snaps as people spot one of the hero's lifeless bodies hitting the pavement. The camera pans to 3 girls cheering wildly for hero number 2, totally caught up in the hype. But the very next frame shows them drenched in crimson, those smiles frozen on their faces forever. The girl's face is a mask of pure horror, her brain unable to process the slaughter. The scene shifts to total defeat with the saviors dropping like flies. Amidst the debris and flames, even the squad leader and the tank get absolutely wrecked. Our MC is paralyzed, eyes wide, struggling to grasp reality. Is this actually happening? Weren't the 7 saviors supposed to be invincible, surrounded by chaos? He sprints through the inferno, screaming for his sister. He freezes for a second, scanning the area with sheer panic written all over his face. He finally spots her with number 7, but the hero says it's hopeless, and they're bailing out. As a monster closes in, the so-called hero grabs the sister. He shoves her straight toward the beast, yelling that she's now human bait. Zero hesitation. Number 7 literally feeds his own teammate to the beast just to buy himself a few seconds. Cookie watches the betrayal, eyes wide, totally paralyzed by the cruelty. His brain snaps. He's screaming, demanding answers, but the so-called hero just smirks. The guy flexes his status, reminding everyone he's one of the elite 7 saviors. Then he drops the most toxic line imaginable, claiming his life is premium content compared to hers. He leaves her there to die, collapsed on the dirt. His sister spots the approaching nightmare and begs Cookie to bail. But Cookie, he plants his feet firmly between her and death. He's roaring at this eldritch horror to back off. Even bleeding out, his sister looks at him like he's a titan, because even now he's standing his ground. Cookie stares down the abyss, mentally kicking himself for having 0 mana bars to spend. He shields her with his own body, screaming that he doesn't care if he gets deleted. He just begs the universe for a scrap of magic. Anything to save his sister, and boom, the universe answers. A glowing sigil ignites on his hand out of thin air. Power surges through him. He catches the monster's massive claw mid-swing like it's nothing. His sister, sprawled on the ground, can't process the visual. Cookie is just as shook, staring at his glowing hand, wondering where this cheat code came from. A disembodied voice echoes in his head. Magic acquired. The tutorial is over. The truth unlocks soon. An insane energy floods his veins, and suddenly the monsters freeze like the game just paused. Plot twist. It wasn't random. His sister triggered a forbidden grimoire stolen from the ministry. The book detonates with blinding light, and Cookie watches reality rewind. The world dissolves and reconstructs itself, taking him back exactly 5 years, back to day 1, the day the apocalypse prophecy dropped. We see a younger Cookie in the crowd, listening to the announcement of humanity's doom. His eyes widen as the jaw VU hits. He didn't just survive, he respawned in the past. Around him, the NPCs of the citizens are cheering, looking up at the sky with 0 clue what's coming. Cookie hits the pavement, head spinning, trying to download the situation. He whips out his phone, and the date on the screen confirms it 5 years ago. He's hyperventilating. He actually traveled back in time. A random guy walks by chatting about the end of the world news like it's a weather report. His friend thinks it's clickbait, but the guy insists it's legit because the great mage said so. Someone asks the million-dollar question. Does this mean the 7 saviors are deploying? Suddenly, the massive city screens light up with the hero roster, and the crowd loses their absolute minds. First up, Sakietsu, the tank, the strongest human alive. Next is Jumansiro, the billionaire tycoon who basically owns the planet. Then Iowa Himika, the underworld queen, lethal, feared, and iconic. Fourth is Kyogi Rampo, a mana monster with infinite energy reserves. The 5th slot goes to Ashia K, the galaxy brain strategist who knows every secret in the book. 6th is the prodigy Suzaki Uri, the youngest mage to ever do it. And finally, the poster boy Iraqi Leo looks cash talent. The guy is playing life on easy mode. The dream team is assembled. The hype in the crowd is suffocating. One guy screams that it's actually happening. People are partying, convinced his heroes are their salvation. But Cookie stands there like a ghost, realizing he's the only one with the spoilers. Flashbacks of the bad ending hit him. The screams, the fire, the betrayal. His pocket vibrates, snapping him back. It's his mom. He picks up, heart racing, and she drops a bomb. Mickey just collapsed. Panic mode engaged. Cut to the massive city hospital exterior. Cookie bursts through the doors, breathless, sprinting to her room. His mom is already there looking terrified. Mickey is out cold on the bed. His mom turns to him, saying the diagnostics are clear. Doctors are baffled. Cookie realizes this is a new timeline event. It clicks the forbidden spell she used in the future is exacting its price now. He needs answers. He rushes to the school library, his old sanctuary. He hunts down that ancient tome he read years ago, pulling it off the dusty shelf. He scans the pages. Confirmed. His sister burned her life force for that rewind spell. But the cure page, it's missing. Meanwhile, background characters Washida and Kusano are yapping about their fantasies of joining the saviors. Washida wants to be the top mage for the clout and the girls. Kusano shuts him down, arguing that number 7 is the real influencer with millions of stans. We see shots of the saviors on merchandise treated like idols. Cookie remembers the cringe reality 5 years ago. The world drank the Kool-Aid. They worshipped these frauds. But Cookie knows they're useless trash. If he does nothing, the game ends the same way. He refuses to let his sister's sacrifice be for nothing. It's time to rewrite the script. Right on cue, the tormentors track him down. Cornered in the library, stacks exactly where they knew he'd be lurking. Washida struts in, dripping with arrogance. Magic-obsessed loser, he sneers, snatching the tome right out of Cookie's grip. Still fantasizing about power you'll never have, Kusano chimes in, twisting the knife. Give it up, zero mana trash. You're a hopeless case. A wicked glint sparks in their eyes. They glance toward the open window, cooking up a nasty little surprise for our boy. Washida grins, and it's pure nightmare fuel. Since you love magic so much, he purr. How about a live demonstration? A crest flares to life on the bully's hand. Kuki's gut drops. He knows that glow. That's an active skill charging up. Get on your knees and thank us for letting you breathe. He roars, but Cookie, the guy doesn't even blink. Stone cold. Swoosh. Cookie sidesteps the strike with eerie precision. Washa freezes, totally rattled by the impossible dodge. What the hell? My gravity crush failed. He screams, veins popping. You should be face-planted on the floor, crippled. Kusano loses his cool. Useless, he spits, launching his jagged Thor magic. But Cookie weaves through the attack like he's dancing. You guys are moving in slow motion. Cookie murmurs. It hits him. Garbage tier magic from weaklings. Can't touch him anymore. His physique feels upgraded. Surcharged. Then the realization snaps into place. This is the mana inheritance from his sister's time reversal spell. A rune ignites on his palm, triggering a memory of her warning from the future. The bullies go ballistic, completely losing it. You awaken a skill behind our backs. They shriek. Cookie tunes out the noise, completely ghosting them. He's laser-focused, analyzing this game-changing power. Suddenly, a spectral grimoire materializes on the floorboards. They scoff, figuring it's some trash-tier luck ability, but then a disembodied voice cuts through the air. Target skills acquired and archived. Cookie's confused for a split second before bam. Reality shatters into pixelated shards of light. He's warped to a different dimension. A mysterious lady steps forward. Welcome to the library, she says. This space, it's your power manifest. She bows elegantly. I'm the skills librarian. Consider this your personal archive of destruction. She calls his name softly. Cookie snaps his head up, mind completely blown by this trippy turn of events. Is this actually my ability? He can barely process it. Scanning the room, his eyes lock onto a glowing mahogany bookshelf. Weirdly, it's empty except for 2 solitary volumes. Suddenly, the grimoires yeet themselves off the shelf. They hover right in his face. The librarian claps her hands. Tutorial mode initiated. Here, skills are just stories waiting to be read. Cookie grabs the floating tomes, one radiating toxic green, the other blood red. Flashback to Washida and Kusano, flexing their powers. Cookie connects the dots instantly. The aura colors match perfectly. Wait, these are their moves. The librarian nods. Indeed, any power you witness gets ripped and stored here for your collection. He's floored. Care to crack one open for test drive? She asks, flashing a serene, knowing smile. Relax, she assures him. This acts as your mental palace. Time in the physical world is irrelevant here. Read at your leisure. Out there, the clock has stopped ticking completely. Those two are frozen mid-punch. But be warned, raw data consumption feels like your brain is being put through a blender. Cookie doesn't hesitate. Bring the pain. He grabs a book, leaving the librarian pleasantly surprised by his grit. This is heaven, Cookie thinks. Unlimited reading, unlimited power. I just hit the jackpot. He's already fantasizing about stacking these shelves and becoming a god-tier hunter. The librarian tries to interject about a storage cap, but he's too hyped to hear it. Taking a breath, he braces himself to download the magical data. Moments later, the woman checks in. Finished already. Cookie looks up, eyes blazing with electric blue energy. I've mastered them both. Snap back to reality. Cookie stands facing his tormentors. The bullies are baffled by his zen attitude. Panic sets in as they realize their magic just fizzled out. Why isn't he bleeding? Cookie smirks. 0 seconds passed. A cobalt aura erupts around his hand, revealing the copied skill crest etched into his skin. It pulses with stolen power. He flicks his wrist, triggering the gravity skill. Boom! The bullies get ragdolled into the ceiling. Eyes icy Cookie monologues. I used to envy your gifts, but deep down I knew I was the better pilot for those powers. Watch how it's actually done. He cranks the dial to 100%, smashing them down with crushing G-force. Camera zooms in on Wadata, pure terror, as the floor rushes up to meet his face. The guy actually wets his pants midair. Total embarrassment. Round 2. Cookie announces. Let's try the green one. Emerald energy swirls. Before they can splatter on the pavement, Jagged vines burst forth, snagging them in midair bondage. Dangling like piñatas, they scream, "Curses! Don't get cocky, trash!" Cookie just stares up at his handiwork. Damn, he thinks this feels incredible. Finally locking in the theft, Cookie tightens his grip, eyes blazing. That power, yeah, it belongs to him now. He triggers Life Drain, and their screams tear through the air. Cookie sneers a skill like this is wasted on trash like them. He tilts his head back, eyes on the sky, locking onto a mission way bigger than this petty fight. Staring at his own hand, he whispers a vow to his sister. He'll take her mana, get jacked, and save everyone, doing what those fake saviors never could. Then, tap tap, a casual high breaks his focus. Or does it? It's a Rocky Leo rolling up with a mocking smirk asking who exactly Cookie is calling. A fake. Cookie freezes. It's number 7 Iraqi Leo. The guy claims he just followed the noise, acting innocent. Then he drops the bomb asking if Cookie is an anti-fan while flashing his phone. Cookie's face is live on stream. Iraqi shoves the screen closer, demanding an apology for the camera. Cookie's stone cold. He doesn't even blink. He doubles down. He's not sorry because the saviors fail the world. Smash cut to the nightmare memory. Mickey being used as a human shield. Cookie accuses Leo of only hurting people, and Leo's playful mask cracks. Pure rage loads in Leo's eyes. Cookie snaps, screaming right in his face that he's a fraud, not a hero. Dead silence. They lock eyes, tension thick enough to cut, but the protagonist starts feeling the heat. The killing intent radiating off Iraqi is suffocating. It's straight up terrifying. You want smoke. Iraqi calls him pathetic as golden energy erupts. Cookie instantly preps his copy skill to steal that power. The hero is disgusted by the kid's nerve. Cookie's knees buckle under the sheer weight of that golden aura. Stunned by the insane pressure of a savior, Iraqi raises a hand, ready to delete him from existence. Suddenly, fangirl screeching. 2 girls spot Iraqi and lose their absolute minds. They want autographs, totally oblivious to the murder vibe. Iraqi flinches, visibly annoyed by the interruption. What a drag. He whispers to Cookie that he got lucky today, but there won't be a next time. Instant switch up. Iraqi slaps on a dazzling fake smile and turns to greet his adoring public. Cookie exhales shaken. He knows he would have been cooked if that fight actually went down, but no rest for the wicked. How magic incoming. A fireball whizzes past his ear, singing the air. He scrambles back in shock. Distant shouting. Sorry, miscalculation. Just a training accident. The caster rushes over. It's Kai Momo. Cookie recognizes her immediately. She's special class, basically a walking nuke. Certified mages are the elite drafted every 4 years, and the acceptance rate is under 1%. Brutal. Cut to them walking together, and she gives him props for handling the bullies. She pauses, though, remembering Akuda had 0 mana before. Cookie nods, playing it cool. He claims his latent ability finally decided to wake up. Momo grins. She hated those jerks anyway. Cookie starts thinking she might actually be one of the good ones. Could she be an ally? He risks it and asks her honest opinion on the 7 saviors. Her eyes light up. They're her idols. She wants to be the strongest mage, just like them. Cookie shuts down. She won't get it. Telling her the truth is off the table. Suddenly, Momo suggests a power checkup. Cookie blinks. Actually, getting an official reading hadn't crossed his mind. Cut to the special training room. It looks like a gym, but way higher tech. Momo proudly shows off the special class rig. It's not just a meter. It's a combat simulator. You fight a hollow monster, and it calculates your stats in real time. Cookie balls his fists. If he gets that certified badge, people have to listen. He needs that credibility. Maybe then the world will believe his story. Boom! A teacher appears, startling Momo. He busts them. Restricted area. Special class students only. Cookie steps up. Put me in the special advancement class. The teacher pauses, remembering Akudo was dead last. From bottom of the barrel to this. Cookie doubles down. I'm taking the certified exam in 1 month. Momo loves the hype. She begs the teach to let it slide, so she can test her levels too. Since the star student asked, he sighs and approves. System booting up. The room shifts into a hyper-realistic forest replica. Momo calls out from the control booth, asking for the difficulty setting. The instructor clocks the threat at rank E. A tiny yellow critter pops up, and she explains that this spar will test their limits. Momo smirking like she owns the place, saying she's up first as she channels blazing heat into her palm. She unleashes a massive inferno, swallowing the little beast whole. But the smoke clears, and the thing walks out totally unscathed, leaving Momo stunned. Suddenly, the critter morphs, blowing up into a colossal nightmare, revealing itself as a rank A threat. Momo screams at the teach, but he admits the simulation settings are glitched to high level. Instead of running, she gets hyped. Taking down this beast proves she's top tier. But the giant isn't waiting, spitting a barrage of fireballs straight at them. The teacher starts losing it, screaming that a rank A is a death sentence for students. The beast rushes in, landing a brutal swipe that smashes Momo into the dirt. Pinned down, she screams for the instructor to pull the plug and trigger the emergency exit. He's jamming buttons, but the safety overrides are dead. She's hurt, paralyzed by fear as the monster bellows, winding up for the kill. Cookie steps in. Dropping Fax Escape means slaying the boss. Just like a dungeon raid, the Titan lunges, razor-sharp claws, aiming for the kill. Momo freezes, realizing she's too slow to dodge. Out of nowhere, Cookie tackles her to safety. He defies physics, hovering midair with his gravity skill. Checking if she's good, she stares at the brown crest on his hand, realizing he's a gravity manipulator. The beast isn't done, winding up for round 2. Floating calmly, Cookie says they just gotta drop the enemy, which sounds insane to Momo. Cut to Cookie's mindscape. The librarian is waiting. She's got a lesson plan, a brand new way to weaponize his abilities. He can dual-wield skills like Magic Edition. Back in the fray, Momo screams that gravity alone won't scratch this thing. Cookie smirks. Who said that's all I got? And flashes the other crests, leaving her stunned. He fuses gravity and vine magic, manifesting a jagged thorny whip. He dashes straight at the Titan power surging. The strike lands dead center, making the giant shriek in agony. Grunting with effort, Cookie unleashes the finisher, showing them how a pro handles business. The thorn hip snaps forward, binding the monster instantly. The beast glitches out, pixelating into dust. Game over. Back in the real world, Cookie and Momo spawn in the room, and he wipes his brow, admitting that drained him. Momo's speechless brain, unable to process that he one-shot a rank A. He blinks gassed, but victorious. Meanwhile, some creep is spying through the door, checking if they're corpses yet. Turns out he hacked the system, betting Cookie would get crushed by the boss. He watches the simulation dissolve in horror, panic setting in as they emerge alive. The prof sprints over, frantically checking their vitals. Momo points at Akuda. He ended it with one hit. The scoreboard lights up, showing Momo's stats are solid, but Cookie straight up error. The prof is floored, never seeing a glitch like that. Cookie zeroes in on the spy at the door, asking the kid if he rigged the game. Momo goes ballistic, grabbing the kid by the collar, screaming that he nearly murdered them. The kid denies it, but Cookie steps up, demanding he fix the rig. The bully freezes, spotting the skill crest on Cookie's hand. Realizing he's outmatched, he folds. He starts frantic repairs on the console. But Cookie isn't just watching his eye flares with mana, copying the kid's ability. Electronic hacking acquired, adding a new tome to his mental library. He grins. That skill is going to be handy. The teacher snatches the hacker, hauling him off for a serious chat with the principal. He drags the kid away, threatening that if evidence pops up, he's expelled. The teacher glances back, sensing tension. Cookie plays dumb, rubbing his neck as he gives Momo an awkward excuse. Cut to the next scene. The board says 30 days to the mage exam. The teacher introduces the new guy to the elite special advancement class. Our MC bows, keeping it low-key, dropping his name, Ikuda Cookie. Whispers break out instantly, and one girl throws her hand up. She hits him with the ultimate question, which savior is the absolute goat in his eyes. Cookie freezes, completely caught off guard. The rest of the class starts buzzing, claiming every mage dreams of being just like the 7 saviors. These guys aren't just heroes. They're global icons with a cult following. But Cookie's face drops, turning stone cold as he dwells on the grim reality behind these so-called idols. He finally snaps back, declaring he doesn't look up to a single one of them, haunted by the memory of his savior's true dark nature. Then he drops a bombshell that sucks the air out of the room. He claims the world is straight up doomed if they leave it in the hands of the saviors. He doubles down, insisting that talented people like the students in this room can't just stand on the sidelines waiting to be saved. Momo's eyes go wide, stunned to hear him suggest that they, the students, are the ones who can stop the apocalypse. With blazing intensity, he announces he needs everyone to step up and fight, vowing that he's going to level up his own power. Cookie swears he'll surpass every last one of them to save a world teetering on the edge. But of course, there's always that one student recording the whole meltdown on their phone. They upload the clip instantly, captioning, "It check out this lunatic," and it blows up. The video goes viral in seconds, sparking a massive wave of backlash with hashtags worshipping the 7 saviors trending worldwide. The internet becomes a war zone of posts defending the heroes and proving just how obsessed society is with them. From high schoolers to salarymen, everyone sees Cookie's passionate speech and laughs it off like a bad joke. The clip spreads so far and wide that it lands on the screens of the elite, including the legendary Jumanji Sajiro. Smash cut to the seven saviors themselves huddled around a screen, watching Cookie's viral rant. Back at school, the professor announces the exam is coming up in a month, telling everyone to get their act together. But the vibe shifts the second Cookie walks in. His mere presence leaves the other students shook. The professor lingers in the hallway, looking deep in thought. It makes no sense. Cookie had 0 mana yesterday. He gets on the phone, reporting a glitch in the Matrix. The boy's mana is suddenly off the charts, and his political views are radical. He explains that Cookie is spreading the dangerous narrative that even the seven saviors aren't enough to save humanity. On the other end, Jumanji Sajir Nadal listens to the intel and surprisingly gives the green light for Cookie to take the certification exam. After hanging up, Jumanji pivots to a shadowy figure nearby, asking for his hot take. It's none other than the number 1 ranked mage, Sagari Tetsu, watching the chaos with pure arrogance. Tetsu shuts his eyes, looking totally unimpressed. He couldn't care less about the drama. He stands up, dismissing the whole thing, saying he has 0 interest in whatever ideologies people are spewing. As he strolls out, a trail of ice flash freezes the furniture behind him, a casual flex of his terrifying power. Jumanji Sajiro, the number 2, just smirks, noting that Tetsu is as cold-hearted as his magic. Meanwhile, Cookie lets out a heavy sigh, realizing he might have cooked himself by talking too much. He slumps onto a bench alone, knowing he spoke his truth, but dreading the backlash. It gets worse. He checks his phone and sees. The rumors are already spreading through the school like wildfire. He thinks back to before his time regression, remembering how he used to fanboy over the heroes too. But now he's just the campus weirdo. Suddenly, a fireball whizzes past his face. A glorious jump scare that snaps him out of his thoughts. A female voice calls out asking why he's looking so depressed. It's Kai Momo grinning from ear to ear, telling him to drop the formalities and just call her Momo. She plops down next to him, brimming with energy, admitting she thinks he's actually pretty cool for getting strong and roasting the heroes. Momo adds that his speech was a wake-up call. She realizes they need to get stronger on their own terms. She muses that honestly nobody knows for sure if the world is actually ending, but Cookie cuts her off, eyes locking onto hers with deadly seriousness, confirming that yes, the apocalypse is 100% real. He explains that to get people to listen, he needs that mage certification so they'll actually trust his word. Momo beams at him, seeming to vibe with his mission completely. Looking determined, she tells him he has no choice but to ace that exam. He cracks a smile and thanks her, promising to treat her to a bowl of ramen. She instantly holds up 2 fingers make that 2 bowls. The scene shifts abruptly, taking us to the entrance of a massive medical center. Inside a quiet room, a girl named Miki Murai lies unconscious in a hospital bed. Cookie stands by her side, whispering to his sister that he's taking the exam specifically to save her. He clenches his fist, the weight of the world on his shoulders. This is his only shot. 1 month later, we cut to the grand auditorium of the Ministry of Magic. The tension is palpable as the exam is about to start. The other candidates start gossiping. The second Cookie walks through the door. They recognize him as the viral lunatic, wondering why he's even bothering with the mage exam. Suddenly, a hand taps his shoulder, making him jump. It's Momo, flashing a huge thumbs up, telling him to chill out and just do his thing. Cookie smiles back, feeling the anxiety melt away thanks to his new ally. But a split second later, his face hardens, fists clenching as he locks in. It's game time. Inside the classroom, the written test kicks off with dozens of students sweating over their papers. Momo looks breezy, answering questions like she wrote the textbook, but Cookie. He shoots a glance at the proctor's computer, and you can see the gears turning. He's cooking up a bold strategy. It's all or nothing. A data-woven magic circle flares to life in his palm as he triggers his cyber hacking skill. He shreds through the exam's firewalls. Moments later, the hall is buzzing with anxiety as students glue their eyes to the leaderboard. Momo's jaw basically hits the floor. She's screaming, calling the score absolutely insane. Turns out Cookie snagged 3rd place by using his ability to swipe the answer key. Momo is spiraling about her own rank, yelling about how totally wrecked she is and how she's doomed. But Cookie flashes a confident grin, promising her he knows she's going to make the cut, so no sweat. He explains the first round was just a filter to toss out the trash mobs. The real game starts now. We cut to a quick montage showing Cookie spent the last month grinding his stats like a maniac. He drilled his containment skills until they were second nature. 0 issues. That's why he's hyped to finally unleash that secret technique he busted his back for. The scene shifts, revealing the survivors huddled in the center of a stark white void. The instructor drops the bomb. Phase 2 is a survival deathmatch. Momo is hyped. They're squatted up. She's relieved they're together. It's announced that a virtual arena is booting up. If you can't fight, you're toast. Every KO nets you points. Only the top 10 scorers standing after the time limit move on. The pro also warns that even with a third stage, this is where the herd gets thinned. Cookie locks in, realizing the odds are slim. Only 10 people are making it out. The instructor snaps his fingers, setting the clock for a tight 15 minutes. Suddenly, the world glitches and morphs around Cookie, leaving him totally stunned. He spawns into a dense forest, and just like that, the second stage is live. Momo doesn't waste a second yelling a quick burr before diving in. She charges up her ult, unleashing a chaotic barrage of 1,000 fireballs. Some poor extra gets caught dead center of the blast. Zero chance of survival. The system blar an elimination notice that participant is history. Momo is popping off over her point, and Cookie notes she has absolutely zero chill in a fight. But then 3 guys circle him looking for an easy frag. Cookie saw this coming a mile away. They all pegged him as the weak link. The first guy shoots a sticky blue energy blob at our boy. Direct hit. Nope. The attacker freezes, realizing something is way off. Cookie was faster. He sidestepped it like it was nothing, leaving the dude shook. Another goon tries to blind him with a smoke screen, but the spell fizzles out completely, leaving her confused by the massive Mona gap between them. Realizing magic is a bust, the last guy activates Iron Skin and rushes in to throw hands. Cookie just watches him charge, unbothered. He catches the punch with one hand casual, as you please, totally shutting down the strike. Cookie mentally notes that Sticky Shot, Smoke X Screen, and Iron Skin are actually pretty solid kits. He thanks the trio for the free demo and wins up to clapback. Green energy surges from his hand as our hero triggers a copied skill, summoning a grotesque thorn monster, which shreds the bullies without mercy. The system pings triple elimination, and Cookie vibes on the success of his new move. Up in the booth, Jim, Sajiro, and the prof are sweating over his abnormal mana levels. Sajiro smirks, betting no one can even touch the kid. Then boom, rank 7 hero Iraqi Leo drops into the lobby, looking incredibly smug. A new patch note drops mid-combat, confusing Cookie. The rule, anyone who lands a hit on Iraqi. Leo gets an instant pass. The prof explains, Iraqi requested this just to farm content for his YouTube channel. Iraqi spreads his arms, daring the lobby to come get some right then and there. But let's be real, he just sees them as props for his highlight reel and view count. The students see a golden ticket and rush him like a zombie horde. Iraqi sigh about the burden of fame, but braces for impact. With a pulse of energy, Iraqi blows the mob back, taunting that they're too slow. Then he spots Cookie in the back. His face drops. He recognizes that face from somewhere. It hits him, that viral clip that broke the internet where Cookie was live streaming to the world. In that video, our hero was screaming his lungs out, exposing them as fake heroes. Back in the arena, it's on. Cookie thought tanking that hit with his thorns was a bright idea. Big mistake. He flips the script, deciding it's time to play judge, jury, and executioner himself. The aura exploding off him is so heavy nobody else can even breathe near them. Iraqi snaps, screaming that he is sick of dealing with trash. Who thinks they're top dog? He demands launching an all-out assault to prove his point. His energy blade shreds right through Cookie's defense like paper drawing blood. Watching him bleed, guilt hits Momo like a truck, blaming herself for dragging bystanders in her mess. She steps up to face the so-called hero. Isn't this a bit extreme for a test? She asks. Iraqi doesn't give a damn. He goes straight for the kill. Don't lecture me, loser. Battered and bruised, she questions if the psychopath is really a hero while charging up a fire blast. The hero just laughs, calling her flames a cheap party trick. She's wide open. Momo screams as the energy blast catches her dead center. The impact launches her through the air like a rag doll. She hits the pavement hard, but wait. Cookie is watching this all unfold in his mind's eye. That was a premonition of the bad ending. Seeing his friend about to get wrecked, he clenches his fist until his knuckles turn white. Pure rage detonates from his body. Iraqi is still running his mouth, calling her skill garbage and vowing to silence witnesses. He deletes anyone who sees his true colors. Broken and beaten, Momo still tries to scrape herself off the floor to fight, but Cookie blitzes him, fusing Smoke X Screen with his thorns. Iraqi freezes, totally blindsided. Where did this scrub get this much mana? Dark smoke starts leaking from Cookie's palm like a curse. He is locking in a new ult. He pulls the trigger, and a thick fog drowns the entire battlefield. Iraqi is completely boxed in. He assumes it is just a distraction and scans the area, trying to spot the angle. Too late. Thorns erupt from the mist, slicing his cheek. Cookie points a finger right at the hero. First blood is mine. From the ground, Momo watches in awe. He has already mastered a skill he literally just learned. She realizes Cookie's potential is basically infinite. As he gears up for round 2, Iraqi loses it. Do you know how much my face is insured for? He screams furious that nobody dare to scratch his moneymaker. You're dead meat, kid. A dark rift tears open in the sky. This guy has a summoning skill. A massive tiger woven from pure lightning crackles into existence. Meet Fuma, the mythical beast. Iraqi is not holding back anymore. Cookie stares in horror. The power gap is just unfair. Meanwhile, Momo is in deep trouble too. She is facing down her own nightmare. Iraqi smirks, bragging that his summoner class is super rare. He has total control over the three-eyed beast, claiming his power level is S-class, maybe even God tier. Time to see what a real elite ability looks like. He sneers the rarest power on the server. Cookie screams, throwing up a guard, but the attack trucks him. Blood sprays everywhere. The force is absolutely insane, launching him backward instantly. He is wrecked. Iraqi actually looks impressed. Surprised you lived through that, but the next one, game over. The lightning beast winds up for the fatality while Cookie's HP hits critical. Momo screams her lungs out, begging him to run, but Cookie knows he is cooked, warning life and danger. Suddenly, his eyes flash blue. The system activates. Time freezes. He is pulled into a digital mind space, and the librarian manifests. Use bind. She suggests. Flashback to 3 weeks ago. Cookie looking totally confused about the mechanics. She breaks it down. You've been doing simple addition. It is time to start multiplying. It clicks. He never thought about stacking buffs like that before. Instead of 1 + 1, he can multiply powers to create a nuke. He has finally got the cheat code. The path to OP status is clear. She warns him it is dangerous, but he shuts her down. I'm doing it. No hosetashchen. He has to level up right now, or he dies. She loves that hunger in his eyes. Smirking, she lays out the blueprint. Read 2 skill books simultaneously, then fuse them. Back in the present, Cookie locks in. He processes the data instantly. It is crafting time. He grabs gravity manipulation and cross arts within his mental library and smashes them together. Time to level up. He attempts to merge gravity manipulation with spikes, aiming to craft a completely broken new ability, but nothing happens. Frustrated, he screams that it's a total bust. The librarian steps in, dropping a harsh reality check. Dual-wielding 2 skills at once is already superhuman, but fusing them to engineer a brand new spell that is next-level difficulty. She shuts him down, warning that he's trespassing into the domain of gods. Cut to the present exam day. The librarian watches from the sidelines as Cookie panics. 3 weeks of grinding, and he's got 0 results. If he flops now, he knows Iraqi won't hesitate to end him and poor Momo. Suddenly, Momo's useless skill flashes in his mind. The same one Iraqi trashed. He recalls the memory of her screaming, taking a heavy hit. But Cookie flips the script. Her skill isn't weak. It's lethal because of its versatility. A surge of adrenaline kicks in. His heart feels like it's literally engulfed in flames. A vision manifests 2 grimoires, one glowing with an intense crimson light. It finally clicks. He knows exactly what to do. This is it, he declares. Back in reality, a massive shock wave of red aura erupts from Cookie's body. He dumps all that energy at once, catching his opponent's summon completely off guard. Iraqi freezes, eyes wide, unable to comprehend how Cookie still has that much juice left in the tank. Momo beams hope, returning to her face. Cookie locks in, ready to unload everything with his bind skill. Smirking with newfound confidence, he raises a hand, levitating jagged rocks into the air. He's done it successfully, fusing gravity control with the fireball skill. With a savage grin, Cookie drops the name of his ultimate move, Meteor Shower. Iraqi is shook, staring up in horror at the flaming boulders filling the sky. He loses his cool, screaming for his beast. Fuma, obliterate those meteors right now. The monster reacts instantly, blasting a blue energy laser to intercept the attack. Fuma snipes the first rock, triggering a blinding explosion of fire and light. But Cookie, he's just getting started. With a casual flick of his wrist, he sends the rest of the flaming payload raining down on the beast, triggering a chain reaction of massive blasts. A final earth-shattering explosion swallows the arena in dust and smoke. Iraqi stares at Fuma, unable to process that his summon just got wrecked. Through the haze, Cookie stands tall, mastering the recoil of his new power. Up in the stands, a spectator complains that this duel is dragging on way too long. The teacher turns to Master Sage Tetsu, nervous about the student's safety. They squint at 2 silhouettes in the smog, totally baffled. The camera pans, revealing Mickey Marai watching the showdown from the shadows. The smoke clears, showing a gasping Iraqi and his mighty Fuma face planted on the floor. Cookie hits him with the taunt, proving the fireball skill isn't trash. It's a weapon of mass destruction. Momo blushes hard. Stunned by Cookie's sudden alpha energy, the protagonist doubles down, calling Iraqi a fraud who relies solely on raw stats. He's not strong. He's just carried by his kit. Cookie calls him the real garbage for stepping on everyone else. Iraqi snaps, shrieking that it's a lie. He insists he's built different, that he is the literal chosen one. Cookie claps back that 1,001s don't exist, but Iraqi calls him an idiot, grinning as he insists destiny is real. Flashback to a 6-year-old Iraqi tearing into a steak dinner. He's sitting at a lavish table with his parents. When his mom pulls him aside, she brainwashes him, saying he's a superior, being entitled to everything. His dad chimes in, calling everyone else worthless NPCs. We see little Iraqi stomping on another kid, claiming the playground belongs to him. He realized early on he could do whatever he wanted because everyone else was beneath him. Being special gave him a free pass to terrorize other children. Years later, he unlocks his ability and summons Fuma for the first time. Schoolgirls instantly S over him, hyping him up for having such a rare talent. It fed his ego, confirming his chosen one status as he orders Fuma to flex. The beast strikes a goofy pose looking less like a monster and more like a butt kitten. Iraqi loves it, amused that a giant kaiju obeys his every whim. With his talent and silver spoon life, he believes the world is his personal buffet. Back in the present, Iraqi rants that he has it all. Lineage clout, girls, and broken skills. To top it off, he flexes his wallet, pulling out a ridiculously expensive potion. In the distance, the students are confused, thinking Cookie had this in the bag. Without hesitation, Iraqi chugs the potion right in Cookie's face. He explains this isn't some common drop. It's a super rare item. Smirking, he reveals the cheat code, total HP recovery, plus a double buff to his magic power. He's literally paying to win. That item was totally glitched. Cookie stands there paralyzed that boost shouldn't be possible. Rocky starts bragging, claiming that with double the power, his beast mode is about to go off the charts. Fuma lets out a deafening roar wrapped in a blinding, supercharged blue aura. Our MC is completely frozen, overwhelmed by that raw energy. The villain mocks him, laughing and asking if Cookie has any fight left in him. Flashing a creepy grin, he warns that this is the absolute end of the road. Momo is losing it on the sidelines, screaming her friend's name in desperation. Iraqi barks the order at Fuma, commanding the beast to rip him to shreds. But then, plot twist, the monster just stands stone cold still. Turning away, Cookie locks in with a steely gaze, refusing to show a single ounce of fear. Iraqi starts losing his cool, demanding to know why the beast is glitching out. He literally tries to kick the creature, screaming that it's just a dog and needs to heal. But Fuma roars right back in his face, sending Iraqi into full panic mode. He's malfunctioning. His skills shouldn't allow this rebellion. That's when Cookie drops the bomb, summoning a floating grimoire. Iraqi is shook, wondering if this is some cheap magic trick. The MC breaks it down when two tamers try to control the same beast. Fuma runs a vibe check. It obeys the one with the genuine friendship bond. It clicks for Iraqi. He sneers, realizing it's a copycat ability. Desperate, Iraqi screams that he's owned Fumao way longer and demands obedience. But Cookie hits him with the hard truth, revealing that the beast never actually trusted him. Iraqi is stunned while Cookie explains the lack of connection. We get a quick flashback of Cookie analyzing Fuma, spotting the catch. Cookie twists the knife, saying Iraqi's toxic attitude made the beast switch sides. Fuma's eye flares up with intensity, proving it has chosen a new master. Iraqi is clueless as the beast leaps over and lands perfectly right beside Cookie. The protagonist explains that connecting with the beast revealed just how trash Iraqi really is. Cookie declares that Fuma is a living being who deserves a better life. Outraged by the betrayal, Iraqi screams for the beast to quit playing and come back, but Cookie reminds him thanks to that potion, Fuma's mana is doubled. The beast charges up a massive energy nuke in its mouth, ready to unleash everything. The beam hits Iraqi dead on, making him scream in agony from the insane impact. It's brutal. The attack literally shreds Iraqi's body in multiple ways. Wrecked on the floor, he refuses to believe he lost a nobody like Cookie. The MC steps up, eyes burning, and orders him to apologize to his sister. Iraqi plays dumb, asking what the hell he's talking about with a glowing crest on his hand. Cookie repeats the demand with force. Out of patience, he grabs Iraqi's skull and slams it hard into the dirt. The system notification pops up. A participant has been eliminated due to inability to fight. Momo watches the whole thing jaw on the floor. The crowd is stunned into silence, wondering if this is actually real life. It finally sinks in. Cookie, the dead last ranker, just took out number 7. Cut to the hospital. Cookie wakes up groggy and disoriented. Suddenly, Kanamomo is right there looking super worried. She explains she was out cold for a week due to severe mana burnout. She grips his hand tight, insisting that she's the one who owes him. Blushing hard, she thanks him for blocking Iraqi's lethal shot. Cookie is confused by the affection, but then panic sets in. He remembers the exam and asks for the results. She flashes a winning smile. They both pass the test. He manages a weak smile, relieved for her, but internally he's beating himself up. He assumes passing out means he failed. He clutches the sheets in anger, feeling weak and useless. Unable to change anything with his power, he congratulates her, but Momo looks at him weird. Confused why he's acting like he's out. She hypes him up, revealing the big news he passed, too. Smash cut to the Ultralux Academy entrance. Cookie knows the real grind starts now, but get a massive shock. Somehow, he ended up ranked number 1 in the class. The whispers start immediately. Students are doubting if he can actually save the world. Cookie realizes that beating a savior has made everyone lose faith in the system. That's when Sagai Tetsu, the world's top savior, enters the chat. The students can literally feel his insane aura. The crowd keeps trash-talking, betting he's a wash. Big mistake. One word from Tetsu, and boom, a shockwave of blue energy shuts them down. Massive, jagged ice spikes erupt from the floor, instantly flexing his absolute god-tier power for everyone to see. Cookie is floored, staring wide-eyed at how that suffocating Mona pressure silenced the entire room in a heartbeat. Tetsu glares at the students, dropping the hard truth. Their fancy words mean nothing against the horrors waiting below. He breaks it down. Down in those pits, monsters are starving, and your precious mana is just a snack to them. His expression turns icy serious. Getting stronger isn't a hobby. It's the only way to survive. He wraps up with a brutal ultimatum. A certified mage who stays weak deserves to die. The squad looks up completely rattled by the Rex-Titer. Sheer dominance of the number 1 hero. Smash cut to a quiet playground, letting the tension breathe for a second. Momo is totally fangirling over meeting her idol, while Cookie just doesn't get the hype. Then she drops the lore. Tetsu is the reason she's here. He inspired her to chase the mage life. Flashback time. We see a tiny version of Momo sobbing alone in a pitch-black abyss. Suddenly, 2 reedied nightmares emerge from the shadows, growling. One beast lunges, jaws wide, ready to tear the helpless kid apart. Panicked little Momo curls into a ball, screaming and waiting for the end. But crack! A massive wall of ice slams down, blocking the bite. A calm voice cuts through the fear. Stop crying. It's Sage Tetsu, radiating power, saving her life with 0 seconds to spare. He looks down and drops a core memory. Get strong, kid, and you'll never have to cry again. Back in the present, she admits that's the moment she vowed to become a shield for others. Cookie listens, cracking a small grin, totally vibing with his friend's heart. Then she flips the script and asks why he decided to suit up as a mage. His eyes go dark and determined. My goal, I'm just here to stop the apocalypse. Momo pauses, flashing back to a shade about the 7 saviors failing. The gears start turning in her head. She leans in close and asks point blank, "Did you come from the future?" But then she laughs, waving it off. Just kidding. You just talk like a total know-it-all. But Cookie isn't laughing. His whole body is shaking. He drops the bombshell. I've already lived the next 5 years. Momo freezes, thinking it's a prank, remembering he was supposed to be dead in that timeline. Don't laugh, he pleads. Listen closely. Seeing the terror in his eyes, she realizes this isn't a joke. The world is actually going to end. He confirms her worst nightmare. With a grim nod, and the air gets heavy. She's shook, realizing that even the legendary number 1 can't stop Doomsday. We get a flash of the bad timeline. Ashiok, dead heroes broken. Even Sage Tetsu, the strongest of them all, lies defeated in the dirt. Cookie explains the harsh reality. He couldn't solo it. Nobody could. It was an impossible fight. Clenching his fist, he insists that raw power isn't enough. Everyone needs to fight as one. Momo whispers the word allies. She stares at him, a mix of shock and respect. He confesses she's the first person he's told his first true ally. Blushing with a sincere smile, she thanks him for the trust. But then the logic hits her. Why not blast this to everyone? More people would believe him, right? Cookie sighs. Regression is ancient magic. Most people think it's a myth. Plus, if this secret leaks, his sister becomes a massive target. Momo grasps the stakes immediately and asks for the game plan. Cookie tightens his fist again. We level up. That's why I'm here. Scene transition. Duo is walking through a park, geared up and ready for the grind. Narrator voice kicks in. Cookie and Momo got drafted to the same squad, officially starting their mage careers. The team stands at the edge of a massive abyss, prepping for their first dungeon run. A veteran grins, asking if it's the rookie's first drop. Momo is practically vibrating with excitement. Cookie's mind is racing. He's done simulations, but he's never faced real flesh and blood monsters. His face hardens. This is his first real battle in this timeline. The vets tell him to chill. It's just a beginner dungeon. Just stay back and watch, they say. The pair nods, nervous energy buzzing, and they brace for the descent. No time to waste. A senior shouts, "Let's move." And they jump. The whole squad slides down the cave walls, diving into the mission. We learn the protocol. Noobs always shadow the seniors in low-level pits. The pros handle the heavy lifting. While the rookies soak up XP just by watching, suddenly one of the guys starts losing his cool. Spotting a horde of beasts thundering toward them, he barks orders at the greenhorns to intercept the stragglers, breaking from the pack. Zero hesitation. Cookie and Momo drop into battle stances locked and loaded for their debut skirmish. Cookie flexes his ability, ripping thorny vines from the earth that instantly snare a monster in a jagged chokehold. Target immobilized. Momo charges up a blazing fireball to secure the kill. The veteran nods at the rookie's grit, but Cookie, he claims his tank is still full. Smirking, the pro tells him to chill out. Slow and steady wins the race. But our protagonist is buzzing with adrenaline and demands they witness his next move. He screams, "Watch this," and fuses his thorns with Momo's flames, triggering a massive area of effect explosion. Momo cheers for the insane combo, leaving the veterans with their jaws on the floor. It's total overkill. Suddenly, a surge of mana floods Cookie's veins, granting him the mage class. But instead of celebrating, he grinds his teeth in frustration. Realizing these C-rank mobs drop practically 0 XP. He needs bigger game. The scene snaps back to the surface world. As Cookie hauls himself out of the dungeon, the portal seals shut behind them. Momo is hyping up their survival, just thrilled to breathe fresh air again. The vet checks in on the vibe, and she admits she was shaking her boots, but glad they made it out in one piece. Then, with a stone-cold glare, Cookie drops a bombshell. He wants to raid a Hyle abyss immediately. Momo flinches at his reckless courage. Whispering his name in panic, the squad leader admits the kid's raw talent is S tier. But there's a major catch. He lectures that raw power means nothing without battle IQ experience is the only thing that saves you in the clutch. Cookie clenches his fist, nodding, absorbing the veteran's wisdom, while Momo stares at him, worried. Cut to a local diner where a student is groaning about starving to death. While Momo goes to town on a sandwich, Cookie sits in silence, finally processing the veteran's warning. He realizes he can't speedrun Hyle bosses with skills he barely understands. He needs to grind for real experience. But Momo drops a reality check. The mage world is bureaucratic, and missions are gatekept by rank. She asks if he's still rushing to die. Cookie says yes, but he'll play the game. Then he reveals the terrifying truth. The apocalypse countdown is at 4 years and 10 months. Eyes intense. Cookie lays out his master plan. Step 1. Recruit loyal ride or die allies just like her. Momo listens closely, munching on her snack, nodding along. Step 2, he explains, is chasing clout, gaining status. He needs the world to take his warnings seriously. Then he needs to copy the ultimate combat loadout, stealing defense skills to tank hits for civilians and healing magic to patch up the wounded. He wants to be a one-man army. With a serious expression, Momo asks about the fourth and final phase. He replies simply, he needs to become overpowered, strong enough to solo the monsters that even the number 1 hero couldn't scratch. Fist trembling, he feels the crushing weight of the timeline. Knowing every second counts, desperation sets in. At this snail's pace, he'll never be strong enough to save humanity. Suddenly, a light bulb goes off for Momo. She grabs Cookie's attention with a loophole. She explains that if a mage proves they are on the same level as the 7 saviors, they can bypass the ranking system entirely. Cookie lights up, but she shrugs. She has no clue how to actually do that. It clicks for him if he gets recognized by the saviors. He unlocks the high-tier dungeons. The scene shifts to a high-stakes council room where the legendary 7 saviors are deep in discussion. Ashia K number 5 smirks, asking what the buzz is about. Jumin Sero number 2 replies that the topic is the rising rookie Ikuta Cookie. Edogawa Rampo number 4 scoffs, labeling him the punk who humiliated Araki's kid. Sero breaks down the combat data. The boy chained a thorn skill into a second ability instantly. Igawa Haimiya number 3 deduces he's a multi-SKLL user, a total anomaly. Sasaki Iori number 6 yawns, dismissing it, looking bored out of her mind. The room turns to Sagai Tetsu #1, waiting for the king's verdict. Without a word, he unshafts an ice blade and vanishes pure speed, breaking the sound barrier. Cut back to Cookie, whose instincts scream as a crushing oppressive aura locks onto him. The other saviors are left stunned, wondering what Tetsu is plotting. Boom! Sagai Tetsu materializes out of thin air right in front of Kuki I's sword drawn. Rampo is rattled, wondering how he bypassed the security locks, but Cookie doesn't flinch. He triggers a new skill, sparking a crackling magic circle in his palm. The saviors realize it's lightning magic. Cookie demands to know their business. With a gaze of pure steel, Cookie reveals the plot twist. He actually came here to ask them for a favor. Sero raises an eyebrow, intrigued by the rookie's guts. Cookie faces down Tetsu and summons every ounce of his courage, demanding they let him join the ranks of the 7 saviors. The elites are shook. They can't process the audacity. Sero scoffs, asking if Cookie thinks one win entitles him to a seat at the table. Ashia throws Cookie's own words back at him, reminding the boy he called the savior soothless. Cookie snaps back, thinking out loud. Shuro observes the mono flow, realizing this kid is trying to speedrun the system to hit S-class rank immediately. They drop a reality check. Even Sagai, the absolute strongest, took 6 months to pull that off. But Cookie just stares them down with zero chill. He insists he needs that power right now. That triggers Kyugi, who absolutely blows a gasket, screaming at him to stop being an arrogant punk. He lectures that mages need to grind levels as dungeons get tougher. Furious Kyugi steps up, ready to teach this rookie a physical lesson, but Sejiro shuts it down instantly. The old man then drops a bombshell. He suspects Cookie might have the ability to copy skills. Cookie's poker face cracks the vibe in the room, shifting to serious tension. Looks like he just heard a ghost story. He can't believe a cheat skill like that exists. Ashia is totally here for the drama, while Agawa looks like he'd rather be napping. Suro decides to end the meeting, giving Cookie a hard no for today. Cookie takes the L, visibly frustrated by the rejection. He really wanted to snag a sage-level skill. Deciding it's time for Plan B, he stops holding back and cranks his mana up to 11. A massive white aura detonates around him, crushing the room with pressure. The sages are shook, wondering what kind of monster energy this is. Kyujai thinks the kid wants to throw hands and starts yelling. But suddenly, Cookie drops the hostility and bows deeply, leaving the big guy totally confused. Cookie pivots, promising to take their advice to heart and grind twice as hard starting tomorrow. He even thanks Kyugi for the motivational speech. Talk about killing them with kindness. As Cookie calmly walks out, Kyugi takes the bait hook, line, and sinker, shouting for him to wait. The big guy compliments the kid's insane mana and surprising manners. Cookie flashes a humble smile, but internally he's thinking, this acting isn't my style. Kyujai then asks the million-dollar question, why the desperate need for power? The boy's face goes dark. We cut to a flashback, revealing his sister collapsed and hooked up to machines in a hospital. He confesses he needs to be a mage she can be proud of when she wakes up. That hits right in the fields. The big guy starts bawling and grabs him, screaming that he'll train the kid personally. Cut to the grand arena, where Kyugi flexes his signature ability, creating barriers. Cookie reveals in his inner monologue that he already researched this. He specifically targeted Kyugi to copy this exact skill. With a barrier that strong, he could actually protect the people he loves. Kyugi gets ready to run the test. He announces it's a showdown. Ultimate attack versus ultimate defense. He slams his hand down, summoning a massive structure. Behold the wall of determination. The barrier rises with terrifying power, proving exactly why Kyugi is a sage. Throws down the gauntlet. Try to scratch this. Doesn't waste a second and launches himself forward. He activates Iron Skin for maximum impact. He collides with the wall Hedon, triggering a blinding explosion of golden energy, but physics bites back instantly. The impact rebounds, sending the force straight back into his arm and blasting him backward. He smashes into the ground. Kyugi catches him, explaining the gimmick. The wall reflects all damage back to the attacker. He dares Cookie to try breaking it again, warning him it's no joke, but he dangles a massive carrot in front of him. If Cookie succeeds, he joins the squad and gets a ticket to raid an S-class dungeon. That's the jackpot. Cookie locks in. He activates his skill, a power seal glowing on his hand, and summons Fuma to fuse it with a fireball. He crafts a giant flame tiger. He's never seen a skill that can fuse powers like that. Cookie commands the beast to nuke the target. The tiger charges up a blast. It unleashes a roaring beam of fire, a finisher move aimed straight at the barrier. The firestorm surges forward with insane speed, incinerating everything in its path. Screams impure disbelief. There's no way the kid broke the wall in one shot. Cookie flinches, bracing himself. He's expecting the reflected damage to obliterate him. But then he pauses confused. He feels nothing. 0 damage. Kyujai explains the loophole. The wall doesn't reflect damage if you shatter it on the very first try. He admits Kuki is the first person in history to pull that off. Kuki looks a bit flustered by the high praise, but he's stoked to get the recognition. The big guy turns away, hiding a proud little smile. He asks if the copy worked. Kuki confirms he secured the absolute barrier, agrees to let him keep the power, but he warns that a copy is never as good as the original. Then his tone drops. He asks Kuki if he trusts the ministry. The boy hesitates, a heavy memory from his past weighing on his mind. But then comes the twist. Kiyuki admits he doesn't trust them either. The ministry is acting sus, and he has no clue what the Grand Mage is plotting. Kuki tries to respond, but suddenly the scene turns into a nightmare right before his eyes. Out of nowhere, Kyujai is impaled from behind, coughing up crimson. Cookie screams his name in panic. His brain refuses to process the image. The attacker, standing over the body, is the Grand Mage himself. Behold the Grand Mage, the top dog of the Ministry of Magic. This dude is the one who predicted the literal end of the world. Desperate to stop the catastrophe, he tapped into ancient vision magic and personally drafted the 7 sages to fix the timeline. Snap back to the now. Cookie is frozen, eyes wide, staring at Kyugi, who's lying there totally wrecked. His voice shakes as he calls out the sage's name, refusing to believe the nightmare. But it's no use. He's not waking up. The big guy is down and out. Suddenly, the Grand Mage closes the gap, sword drawn, ready to slice Cookie in half. Pure instinct takes over. Cookie snaps into action and casts the skill he just mimicked, Absolute Barrier. The shield deflects the blade, saving Kyujai from the follow-up. But Cookie is seeing red. He roars and activates the Thorn user skill. Channeling all that rage, gigantic green spikes explode from the ground, aiming to skewer the Grand Mage. But the old man is way too experienced. His eyes flare with light as he triggers his signature move. Future Sight. He's weaving through the thorns like he's got the cheat codes. Cookie is getting seriously pressed. Can't lay a finger on Mr. Future Sight. Then boom, the mage starts spamming illusion clones. It's a total mind melt for the kid. But wait, Grandpa's movement is off. He's glitching out, looking less human, more hologram. Then bam, a move. Cookie's Future Sight didn't catch it all. The Grand Mage's head just deletes itself. Poof, gone like smoke. Cookie's left, standing there shook. Cut to the ministry morgue. Kyujai's lying cold on the slab. Cookie steps up, heart heavy. He whispers an apology to the body for failing him. But one thing's been eating at him. How? The mage see the apocalypse, but not a single win for the sages. Every vision showed them taking the L. Suddenly, it clicks for Cookie. Maybe the mage actually saw the real endgame. The old guy knew the score from day one. The 7 sages were never going to save us. But why drop a fake prophecy? What's the angle? He whips out his phone. GPS is live. Remember Sticky Shot? Back in the brawl, Cookie tagged him. The mage took that sticky shot point blank. Didn't even feel it. Now Cookie's got a live ping on his location. On the map locked. Cookie's eyes go cold. Time to expose the real story. He tracks the signal to a sketchy compound wrapped in barbed wire. He creeps up to a door and freezes. It's not a hideout. It's a lab. Rows of creepy stasis pods looking like glass coffins. What the hell is the Grand Mage doing in a Frankenstein lab? Bam. The old man lunges out of nowhere, hitting like a truck and launching Cookie across the room. Cookie tucks and rolls, snags a rusty pipe, and pops Iron Body just in time. Steel meets pipe. Clang. He blocks the sword strike. The mage dead silent, just staring daggers. Then they blur, trading blows at mock speed. Mage asks, wondering your future sight is off. Cookie grins. I copied your cheat code. We both see the future now. The mage nods. That's why the visions are glitching. Stalemate. They dive back in, weapons clashing wildly. Cookie goes on the offensive, screaming. What did you really see? They lock up again. Weapons grinding, sparks showering down. Cookie pushes harder. Why lie about the prophecy? He thinks of the carnage. The innocent people. You knew hell was coming and said nothing. Cookie's seeing red now. You let this happen on purpose. A flash of his sister in the hospital fuels the rage. His pipe starts glowing with energy. I'll never forgive you. He swings with everything he's got. Crack. A direct hit, but no blood spills. Just mud. Cookie strikes again, and the old man's body just bursts, explodes into a gross brown puddle. It wasn't flesh and bone. It was mud. A voice echoes from the shadows. Just as I thought. The Grand Mage has been dead for a long time. Sage Ashia Hakaru steps out, smirking. The leader is history. Cookie freezes. He knows this face. What are you doing here? Ashia laughs. Took you long enough, slowpoke. He flexes his skill, mud puppet. He controls corpses with sludge. The Grand Mage. Everyone worship just Ashia's marionette. Cookie's brain breaks. No way. Then the horror settles in. That means the prophecy. It was a total fabrication. Ashia grins like a psycho. Yeah, I made the puppet lie to burn the world down. Cookie's shaking with hate, cursing him out. You're insane. Ashia shrugs. Science was going to predict the apocalypse anyway. I just used the mage to announce it first. Gave them false hope. The 7 sages save your narrative. Everyone sighed with relief. They felt safe. They got lazy, made a way easier to end them. Cookie frowns. Destroy the world. Why? Ashia's eyes go dark. The end is inevitable. It's what we will. He drops the bombshell. That's exactly why he iced the great mage and took the wheel. He forced the old man to cap, feeding the public that lie about the 7 saviors rescuing the world. Cookie's eyes bug out brain, refusing to process the audacity. He questions if this psycho is actually serious about something so twisted. A flashback of that bloody day rips through the protagonist's mind, replaying the slaughter in 4K. It clicks. Asha orchestrated the whole nightmare from day one. Asha grins, admitting he crowned himself a savior just to move around without suspicion, but he gives credit where it's due. Cookie peeped the game and tried to solo the apocalypse, hand glowing with menace. He warns that our hero's little adventures are becoming a liability. Our boy locks in, bracing for whatever horror drops next. Suddenly, nasty brown slime bubbles up from the floor fast. It's a Sig skill, mud marionette, sculpting straight-up nightmare fuel from clay. He flexes his collection of deceased mages and dares Cookie to run the gauntlet. Cookie screams at him to cut the crap. Fist charged with raw power, he smashes the earth, demanding to know the motive behind this world-ending madness. But Asha just smirks, hitting him with the why talk. When you're about to be unalived, staring down a mud army, the hero knows he's got to clutch up or it's game over. He triggers his link skill, magic seal flaring on his palm. He remixes gravity manipulation with fireball, spawning a flaming meteor. Asha is actually impressed, vibing with the fact that the kid can not only use but stack skills like a pro. With a twisted glare, he says he'd love to dissect Cookie's body, then makes a call. He whips out a syringe, threatening to add him to the puppet roster, but psyche, he jams the needle into his own neck, triggering Mud Marionette. His body hulks out instantly, muscles bulging with mud-enhanced steroids. Cookie is shook by the transformation, and Asha explains that his mud buffs the living too. To test the specs of his new power, he swings at the hero with a devastating haymaker. The protagonist barely tanks it, realizing his mana tank is hitting empty. Asha talks trash, asking what's wrong while flexing his superior kit. Cookie claps back by fusing Future Sight with Absolute Barrier, eating the blow. Asha feels the resistance on his fist, finally decoding the opponent's strat. He realizes the kid combined the great mage's skill with his own shield. It's an auto-defense cheat code that reads the future to block before impact, but Asha keeps spamming attacks, betting Cookie's mana will dry up first. The barrier starts fracturing under the heavy hits it's not going to hold. Boom! A new skill procs, throwing up a green energy wall. The villain is stunned, wondering how he's juggling a third skill simultaneously. Cookie stands his ground, even though the stamina drain is real. Asha gives props to the kid's prediction defense and countergame. Cookie asks, "What are you?" And Asha decides to drop the lore out of respect for the grind. He reveals the apocalypse is just a ritual for interdimensional beasts. To make it happen, these monsters seeded the human world with magic. The protagonist freezes the sickening reality sinking in. Asha confirms they gifted magic solely to fatten this world up for consumption. He breaks it down. Mages are basically 5-star meals for these monsters. Magic was just fertilizer to make humans tasty for harvest season. Cookie stares him down, asking if he's seriously co-signing this plan. He yells, "You're human too. You cool with being monster chow, but with a wicked smile." Asha hits him with the ultimate curveball. "What did I ever say I was human?" This revelation leaves our MC completely speechless, totally paralyzed by the shock. Suddenly, the villain's body snaps and twists, leaking dark red energy like a broken reactor. His eyes flare yellow, exposing the beast within. Then, wings of pure fire energy rip from his back, ditches the glasses, and his face melts into a maw of razor-sharp teeth. His legs morph into thick, beastly stumps. Cookie looks up brain, unable to compute the horror standing right in front of him. The transformation finishes, replacing the scientist with a towering, terrifying kaiju. The hero is frozen in terror, staring down the true face of the enemy. A voice from the past echoes, saying he'll serve as bait. Flashback time. We see Iraqi shoving forward to sacrifice her. She's panicking, screaming, "What are you doing?" He turns, declaring he's one of the 7 saviors. So he's basically immortal. Iraqi claims he's high-value loot compared to her, while Momo screams for her sister. Even while Grounded tells Cookie to book it because the monster is closing in. Back in the now, the protagonist connects the dots. The beast drops a nightmare revelation. The chosen ones aren't special. They're just future livestock for the monsters to feast on. The truth hits Cookie like a truck, dropping him to his knees. Utterly broken by the dark reality. Mocking his despair, the creature applauds him for surviving this long before launching a goodbye gift. A massive beam of crimson energy. It screams toward our hero at Mach speed. 0 magic, 0 movement. Cookie is frozen, stiff, staring down the barrel of his own death. He realizes too late that spamming future sight completely emptied his tank, leaving him defenseless. Worse, the absolute barrier guzzled the last of his mana in seconds. He remembers that ancient tech was way out of his league. Sprawled in the dirt, he hates himself for hitting his limit in a hellhole like this. But the refusal to quit burns inside him. Screaming that he won't die today, he tries to force the absolute barrier one more time. The seal on his hand flickers like a dying light bulb too weak to spark. His hair shifts color, but panic sets in as the magic engine stalls out. Boom! The monster's blast tears up the earth, sending a shock wave ripping through the zone. Flashback to a few days ago. Cookie is grilling the librarian about what his actual true ability is. She drops the truth. His current power set is just on loan, which is why it hits a ceiling. But his original dormant skill, it's in a completely different weight class. He stands there speechless, processing that he's been sitting on a hidden nuke this whole time. With starry eyes, he begs to know if there's a magic that belongs only to him. He's hyped, demanding the instruction manual. She lays out the unlock condition to trigger his ultimate skill. He has to activate 7 abilities simultaneously. Cookie's jaw hits the floor. That sounds physically impossible, but the librarian explains that every skill he collected is actually a key. The second he turns all 7 keys at once, his true crest will unlock 7. He repeats the number, disbelieving. The most he's ever juggled is 2 skills at the same time. She admits that while 3 is manageable in a fight, 7 would normally drain his mana bar to 0. Instantly smiling calmly, she explains the catch: this god magic is a one-shot deal usable only when his mana is at 100% capacity. Snap back to the present. The monster strikes, and Cookie strains to pull up the absolute barrier, but despair crashes down. When the spell fails, he's running on fumes. With grim determination, he braces himself to tank the hit raw. He screams internally, begging the universe for just a drop of magic power to return. As he cries out, a figure blurs into the frame. Suddenly, Chemo tackles him out of the kill zone, taking the blast in his place. They crash into the dirt, barely dodging the explosion. Momo grins, looking relieved to see him alive. But Cookie is confused. Why is she here? She snaps back, flashing her phone screen. You sent the location, genius. It clicks. He did send the Grand Mage's coordinates as a backup plan, but panic overrides relief. He screams at her to run. Realizing this enemy is way above their pay grade, he warns her that he's completely tapped out, and immobile fighting now is a suicide mission. Momo ignores him, charging a fireball in her hands. But instead of throwing it, she spins around and slams her glowing palms on his chest, making Cookie gasp in shock. The monster pauses, finding their desperate struggle entertaining. Suddenly, a violet aura wraps around our hero. She reveals her secret technique, Healing Fireball, declaring that she never leaves a friend behind. Cookie feels his mana bar refilling at warp speed. Shocked by the surge, Momo asks the million-dollar question. With full power, can you take this ugly thing down? Stunned, he asks, when did you learn that? She hints that she's had her own off-screen training arc facing plenty of danger solo. She promises to spill the tea later after he destroys the monster. The beast eyes that rare healing magic, vowing to add her to its collection. Cookie thanks her, feeling the strength flood back into his veins. Flashbacks of his loser past hit him how different the vibe is now. Back then, he had 0 magic and was the punching bag for every bully in school. He is not that helpless kid who needed his sister to save him anymore. He remembers the oath he made to evolve and never be weak again. Now he has a squad he can trust. Locking eyes with Momo, he realizes he finally has a magic that is his alone. The monster scoffs, calling it useless, bragging that its body has adapted to magic immunity and super regeneration. Only a one-hit KO works. The villain boasts that their weak skills can't finish it in a single shot. It charges up another blast, ready to end the game. Cookie ignores the noise and starts the combo, activating gravity manipulation. He stacks Thorn User Fireball, Electronic Hacking, and the Fuma Beast. Then the hero locks in the final piece, Absolute Barrier. Mudpet joins the combo, sealing the deal. The monster screeches, realizing its energy beam is totally useless against this defense. The barrier is unbreakable, tanking the hit and keeping Cookie and Momo safe from the blast. The villain is losing his absolute mind, refusing to believe a mere human could block that kind of firepower. Then he spots the black crest on Cookie's hand. Ancient magic signature detected. Hair shifting to electric blue. Our protagonist drops the ultimatum. He's ending this creature right here, right now. He vows to save the world, eyes glowing white as he charges up his first ultimate move. Cookie unleashes his signature magic, Vanablack. Through the smoke and chaos, Mickey Marai witnesses the aftermath. Seeing Arashiho floored, the big guy is in shock, muttering, impossible, like a broken record before his system shuts down and he passes out. Cookie grins, celebrating the dub and thanking Kanamomo for the assist, but the victory lap is cut short. Dark, sinister energy erupts from his core. Pain shoots through him, dropping him to his knees. While Momo screams his name in panic, Cookie stares at his hand, spotting a weird symbol and wondering what kind of ancient curse this is. Lore drop. This is extinct magic stuff that doesn't